Tools and Twisties, Precision Tools, Performance Cars. Today we're going to look at a set of specialty tools. The Astro Torque Saver Pinless Universal with built-in extensions. These are basically swivel sockets, pinless swivel sockets in 3/8 inch and 1/2 inch that have built-in high torque transfer extensions. And the shafts on these extensions are going to be thicker than normal extension shafts, and the pinless joints and the lack of having to have a separate universal basically accomplishes a couple of things. One, it transfers more torque. So you're losing less torque every time you have an extension or an adapter or connection. You're losing torque. So you're saving torque by having the thicker shafts on the extensions, and you're saving torque by having built-in pinless extensions. Now the Astro pinless extensions I've actually had for a while without the pinless swivels. I've had for a while without the built-in extensions, and they were highly rated on one of the other channels that test these things on torque meters and everything, and does survivability tests. And these Astros were less expensive than some of the major tool truck brands, but tested very, very well. And I've been using them for a while and been quite happy. And I've been very, very happy, big fan of these Astro Nano sockets. And Astro Pneumatic saw my video on these and liked it and sent me these two sets, a 3/8 inch set from 10 to 19, and the 1/2 inch set, which I won't pick up because it's pretty heavy, 13 to 19, and then 21, 22, 24, so skipping 20 and 23. And I think one of the key use cases for this is if you have one of these mid-torque 3/8 inch, being able to put an extension with a built-in swivel on it, and get all the torque that this thing can deliver transferred to the bolt, I think is very useful. You're saving about 20 to 25% depending on how much flex you have on this thing. And this thing is rated at 550 breakaway torque, and I think 400 or so fastening torque. But if you're trying to get a stubborn bolt off and you're losing 20% on the extension and 10% on the swivel, you might not be able to get it, and you might have to go to a bigger tool to get it. So I think that these 3/8 will get a lot of use for me in combination with this Milwaukee mid-torque 3/8 12 volt gun impact, which I really like quite a bit. And then the bigger ones, I don't know how many times I'll need it. I have the big torque gun, and if I'm losing some torque for many fasteners, it's just not going to make that big of a difference. But for the really stubborn ones, it'll be nice to have the extra torque transfer that this thing can deliver and get every bit of torque that this thing can put out transferred to the bolt head. So the alternatives would be, I say it isn't an absolute must. Here's, for instance, just a regular Quinn 3/8 inch extension and a Quinn, not a pinless swivel, and a Quinn socket. And something like this, first of all, is not going to hold up nearly as well as this. It's about the same size. You can see the shaft size is quite a bit different. This is going to work in many situations, maybe even most situations. But this Astro is going to help you out when you have a stubborn bolt, or you're trying to get it out without going to a 1/2 inch, and you just you want the reliability that the Quinn set probably isn't going to be able to deliver. And on the 1/2 inch one, you're competing against, here's an Icon 1/2 inch shaft, and this is actually an Astro pinless swivel, but it's a universal, and the Astro Nano in 1/2 inch 17. So it's something like this, you can see again the shaft size difference is quite a bit different. So I think that this is going to be a great kit to have. I don't know that it will get used as often as my regular stuff, but I can really see putting this together, particularly again in this 3/8 inch size, and using it quite a bit. You also have the advantage that you don't have the universal joints that can pop off if you're trying to stick it into a recess. And the whole thing is just going to be locked into place. There's nothing that can come apart. So that's the Astro 78354 in 3/8 and 7/8 254 in 1/2 inch. And again, this is the entire kit, comes in a nice little blow molded case. They're pretty heavy, I gotta say. The 3/8 one is pretty heavy, and the 1/2 inch one is hard enough to pick up. So pretty heavy duty stuff, and I appreciate Astro sending it to me. You know, I think the Nanos are something that belongs in pretty much everybody's toolbox that does any work on cars. They're great for limited access. They're great for low clearance applications. They can run on a socket, they can run on a socket wrench, they can run on an impact, or they can run on the specialty Nano wrenches. I think just super useful tool. And again, these I think are more of a specialty tool, but will sure come in handy. And that is for today, Tools and Twisties, and we are out.